This one is a personal one. Ever since me and my cousin we were little kids, I wouldn't say obsessed, but at least sometimes I was, with my uncle's boat. This is the one. It's a black label. I think it's a 1/8 scale boat. It is somewhere in the neighborhood of 29 inches long. It is gas powered, as you can see. It's got a Nitro engine, which to be frank hasn't ran in many years. As you can see by the general condition, I wouldn't say it has been left to rot, but it has a lot of work that needs to be done on it to bring it back to life, and I took it on me to try to do just that. There's a lot of work that needs to be done both in the engine compartment, in the electronics department, general wear and tear, some grime, cleaning, replacing parts, so it is a big project, and I did ask him for a quote on how much he was willing to spend on the new upgrades, because to be frank, if I don't fix it to make it run properly, I don't think this boat will ever run again, and I would really hate to see that go to waste. I know this is not in line with the typical content that I put out, but it is very similar to some of the Nitro snowmobiles I've been putting together. I did a budget with my uncle on what he wanted to spend to fix it. The budget was really tight, and to be honest, I really wanted to bring it back to life, so I might have spent a bit of money on my own pocket to try to bring it back. It was in pretty rough shape, to be honest. The type of boat that was put together with glue, and when something broke, just add more glue and try to fix it. Which is not a problem, but I like to think that I can do a better job to fix it and bring it back. Many years ago, me, my uncle, and my cousin, we tried to start it once again, and truth being told, we just couldn't start it again, for a couple of reasons. First of all, we couldn't figure out the tune, and we weren't sure why exactly, but one thing for sure, we could see that the little screw to adjust the mixture was completely destroyed. As if it had been dropped on something, or something crashed into it, or something of that nature, but one thing for sure, you couldn't adjust it, or at least to the point where it could actually run on its own. Also, me and my cousin, being the little devils that we were, we took the transmitter that he had, which was at one point a pistol grip transmitter, and we played with it. Naturally, lost the battery, lost the battery cover, probably damaged the transmitter to a point where the transmitter was not working anymore. So he did buy a new transmitter, which is a Spectrum 5E. Now, that normally is an airplane transmitter, and it's not really best suited for a boat. If he wants to have a nice experience using the boat, he needs to have a pistol grip transmitter once again. So I did put a build sheet together to try to fix all the bugs and issues, and with low maintenance. So this is what I came up with. You gotta keep in mind I tried to keep it as low budget as possible while maintaining high quality parts. So the transmitter is a Spectrum SLT3, which is a pretty good transmitter. It's 2.4 gigahertz. It's entry level, but it's a good quality brand. Then you needed a new engine starter, so I got a new starter and new battery. Hangar 9 are a pretty nice company in that department. I really like their product, and they make a lot of parts for airplane too, so I like their stuff. I then got a new Dubro glow plug igniter because I couldn't find the previous one he had, so I got him a new one. At this point, I wasn't sure what kind of fuel tank I was going to put inside of it, so instead of using the fuel tank that's shown on the screen, I did use a previously used Traxxas fuel tank with the cap. It's the type of fuel tank that you can see inside of a T-Max. Then we will need to change the fuel lines because the previous ones are pretty messed up. They're more than 20 years old, so it's time for new ones. Heat shields in case we need it. A couple of tools to take the glow plugs out, as well as a new glow plug. Now for servos, I want to replace the two previous ones on there because one of them is seized up. These servos have metal gears and they're waterproof. Tie rods and tie rod ends, because we will be replacing the bent one that's on the steering. So that should be about it for all the new parts. Now let's get on with it.
We're not so far away from the point when it starts. Complaints become a permanent part of our time. Lost in this world the rest of our lives, chasing something good that's taking us high, making us smile. don't try to score by messing around with anyone. Good times have gone, experiences left us strong. Hey now, this is what I say now. Can't you see the pain? How does it feel? Sure, it got me to believe that you are the only one. Hey now, what you gonna do now? What you gonna say? It's so unreal. Sure, it got me to believe that you are the only one. Only one. Only one. How does it feel? How does it feel?
So, as it turns out, I did get carried away a little bit when I was putting the boat back together. I did put this motor back into place, and I did some modification to where this is a fuel line, so I did a little bit of a hard tubing going to feed the carburetor. And on the other side, I also did the same thing, but for a cooling system. And the reason is I don't like to have big floppy tubes that go all around it, so I prefer to have nice and nifty, and it's mostly hidden inside of it. It does still allow the motor to turn from side to side without any problems. It didn't change anything from the engine, but it made it a little bit more tidied up. Same goes for the fuel tank. Normally it would have been a outside filler type, so you would need a pump to pump the fuel back in the tank. But I just really like the convenience of having a cap on top of it that you can just flip open and fill up with a bottle. For servos, of course, I went with Metal Gear servo. These are cheap servos, but they're also waterproof, or so they claim. I guess we'll see. The electronics that are not waterproof is inside this little Tupperware. The battery is a battery that came, believe it or not, from a Yamaha Viper, and it's a 2S lithium ion, so like 6.6, 6.7 volts, which is perfect for these because these are rated for 6.6 volts. So it should be no problem at all. Once these are powered on, the voltage drops a bit and they're safe. Battery connected directly to the receiver, receiver connected directly to these two servos, and this one control the steering, and the other one I just kept the same system. This is like a cable inside of a tube, and this controlled the carburetor here at the back. I didn't touch really the carburetor, but I had to make a new screw for it. The previous screw was broken in half, and this is a single needle carburetor. This is the only one you can adjust to adjust your mixture. I took an M3 tapped it all the way in, this little brass coupler here, and then put an M3 screw with a very long taper to it, and it seems to be working really well so far. I was able to start it, do a couple runs in the water, and it seemed fine. I also added a new filter here for the fuel, put some new fuel line. These are Traxxas fuel line. I really like those because they really don't rot. For the most part, they stay clear, they're good quality. I really like those. And that's mostly it. I mean, there's not a whole lot of things on this boat, honestly. 2 servos, engine, fuel tank, and receiver and battery, and that's it. But still a lot of work has been done to this to make it all work. I wanted to keep the boat as stock as possible, so that is why I kept the stock antenna. It is not used, of course, because the new system is 2.4 gigahertz, but I just wanted to keep it as to keep the look, basically. So with all that work being done, now it's time to bring the boat back to its former owner and let him have a go at it. I know it works, I've tested it a bit, but I want to see his reaction when he sees the boat working now.
Ah, il était plus là, je m'en rappelle pas. Ça fait longtemps que j'ai pas vu le bateau.
On fait comme si j'étais pas là.
Ben non, fais-moi pas, j'ai pas peur de ça.
C'est pas toi que je filme.
Non.
C'est plus fermé.
Ouais.
Moi, ça va-tu dans l'eau?
Et c'est plus facile ça que de remplir comme avant.
Faut s'habituer.
C'est ça.
Oui.
Moi, je filme avec lui.
Found those letters that
T'étais pas besoin assez de torque. Oui, tu pire?
Regarde-le, là, regarde-le.
Ça fait combien d'années qu'il n'a pas roulé?
Ouais, 2, 3.
Oh, c'est ça, ouais.
Ouais, une vingtaine d'années. Arrêtez de ça. Va le chercher.
Qu'est-ce que tu penses de ton expérience? Ça valait-tu la peine?
Ben oui, ça valait la peine. Des vieux souvenirs.
Ben oui. Ah ben. Fait que tu me fais-tu un petit outro pour finir la vidéo?
C'est quoi?
Une petite vidéo, un petit mot de la fin, là?
Ben, merci Pascal, c'est très gentil. Tu as remis des vieux souvenirs. La chance dans mes enfants de voir qu'est-ce qu'on avait comme plaisir quand on était jeune. Fait que je voulais partager ça à mes enfants.
Ah, c'est good ça. Ça fait plaisir.
Merci Pascal.